Let's bring in South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, thank you very much for joining us ahead of this White House press briefing. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, we know Mayorkas will be present. I just want to put up this map so our viewers can see. You just heard what's happening in New York, Chicago, these non-border cities that are dealing with this migrant crisis. This is El Paso, Yuma, Tucson, San Diego, Del Rio. They are dealing with this influx of migrants that they can no longer handle. We're hours away now from the lifting of Title 42. What is your prediction will happen?
That you'll have a press conference that will talk about changes that really won't matter. They're incapable, in my view, the Biden administration, of changing policy to stop the flow because they're held captive by the left. This is not chaos. This is catastrophic. We're literally under siege when it comes to illegal immigration. The amount of drugs flowing into this country is an all-time high. How hard would it be for somebody to get into this crowd of people that's a terrorist to kill a bunch of us? So this is catastrophic. The people in charge of securing our border should be fired. And if you want to change policy, you got to get a new president. Joe Biden will never change policy to bring the border back under control because he can't do it.
I mean, even if you got a new president, Senator, it would be a couple of years before that person was sworn in. So that a lot of damage can be done by
absolutely
influx of illegal migration. We got the 2-minute warning for the briefing, so we'll keep an eye on that. Meantime, Senator, thought this was interesting. Joe Biden using the word chaos yesterday to describe the situation on the border. Listen here.
We've had chaos at the border for a number of years. We have to fully fund the border security effort. We have to fully fund. Look. The purpose of what we're doing now is making legal immigration more streamlined, illegal immigration shorter term and move in a direction that people know that there's a legal way to get here and not a legal way.
Yeah, they're promoting the legal way to get here, Senator, not the illegal way, though they continue to let people in en masse, as we've seen every day. He didn't say it was a crisis. This idea of acknowledging that it's chaos.
Well, you know, I try to be respectful to the president. I've actually known President Biden for a long time, and he's a decent man. But what he just said is BS. It hasn't been a couple of years of chaos. It's been chaos on his watch. December of 2020, we had the lowest illegal crossings in the last 40 years. President Biden, can you not figure out what happened? You repealed all of the Trump policies that worked and replaced them with open border policies, and you're surprised we have chaos. I don't think he's capable of making these changes politically. I think he's out of touch with what it takes to secure our border. I don't think he has the political will to secure our border. And it's just a matter of time till America suffers mightily. The human tragedy is just hard to put your head around. Fentanyl is an all-time high, and I'm telling you right now, between the withdrawal in Afghanistan and this chaos and catastrophic invasion on the border, it's just a matter of time till somebody gets in this country and kill a bunch of us unless Biden changes policy.
You know, Senator, just want to speak specifically to the live images that our viewers are seeing on the screen there. Our drone footage, Brownsville, Texas. A moment ago, you saw those piles of clothing and garbage and materials that are left behind by these migrants making this journey. You know, the president acknowledged chaos. But is it chaos? Is anybody shocked by this? Or is it a well-executed strategy, Senator?
It is a choice. This is not an accident. They chose, the Biden administration, to repeal Remain in Mexico, which stopped illegal immigration, asylum seekers. They chose to do away with the agreement Trump had with the Northern Triangle countries. You had to apply for asylum in the country, not at our border. They made a choice to change all those policies. They've done nothing to secure our border after they made these choices. And here's what I think. There's elements in the Biden administration that want more illegal immigration, not less. They've granted parole to 60,000 people. In the entire Trump administration, 10 people got parole regarding illegal immigration. They're making a conscious effort to allow as many people in this country as they can get in, I think.
So after Title 42 comes off, Senator, we go back to Title 8, which has been around since 1968 to take care of illegal immigration. Here's just a quick analysis of what the difference is, expulsions under Title 42 versus Title 8. Under Title 42, one agent can process and send as many as 40 migrants back to Mexico in some 5 minutes. Without Title 42, backed with Title 8, it'll take one agent 30 minutes to an hour to process just one migrant and determine where he or she will go next. With 10,000 migrants coming across our border every day, and that number expected to increase when Title 42 comes off, what's going to happen to the system?
Well, you see it on your television. When Mayorkas speaks and he says our border is secure, he's lying, okay? They must not have a television in his office. Or maybe they just don't subscribe to Fox. Because if you watch Fox News the rest of the day, you will see chaos and catastrophic results at our border. They're doing nothing substantially to correct it. So there comes a point where you have to believe they mean for this to happen. Now, when Trump says the election was stolen, and I don't believe it was, every news outlet in the country fact checks him. When Mayorkas and the Biden administration tell you that the border is secure, not one person outside of Fox News and conservative media pushes back. Why do they keep saying this? Because they get away with it.
Well, we just show the pictures.
You don't need to be, this is not rocket science. You see in real time the consequences of these policy changes. There's human tragedy with this garbage. Only God knows how many women have been raped, children have been sexually exploited. How easy is it to get fentanyl in the middle of this crowd? But I'll say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it until something changes. How easy would it be under these policy changes for a terrorist to penetrate the southern border and kill a bunch of Americans, to have another 9/11? They have paved the way for that by two things: withdrawing from Afghanistan in a reckless manner and having an open border. We're on borrowed time.
And
it's
that's
just
not
a matter of time.
That's not even a crazy out there thought, Senator, because we just learned this week that there are plans under this administration now to release migrants into the United States with absolutely no tracking of them.
Yeah, he also said in response to Jackie's question about this new parole system, when there's overcrowding, they just let people out in the streets with no way to track them. She said, does this amount to an honor system? And he said, no. And then he used the words, if they don't honor their commitment. So, yes, it is an honor system. Senator Lindsey Graham's been watching this with us. Your thoughts, sir?
I'm disgusted. This is a page out of Baghdad Bob. Remember the Iraq War, where Baghdad Bob was telling you Saddam is winning and an American soldier is walking behind him during the briefing? That was a joke. This is a joke. Title 8 deportation capability is a fraction of Title 42. He is lying about how the system works. Jackie asked him a good question. How do you explain that in 2020 we had 458,000 illegal crossings, in 2022 we had 2.4 million, and in 2023 we're going to have more than that? On his watch, illegal immigration has increased 5 times. When Trump was president, the Congress never acted, but he was able to reduce illegal crossings to the lowest in 40 years. No one there asked him, how do you account for the difference between Trump and Biden? How did it go up 5 times? The policy choices you make, Mr. Secretary, have led to an invasion of this country. You're lying to the American people about how the system works. When you parole somebody, they never show up. They go to the country, somewhere in the country, never to be heard from again. We don't have the capability to follow all these people. And here's the test of this news conference. A week from today, based on what he said, will people turn around? Will one person coming to America after being informed of this news conference change their mind? Hell no. They're going to keep coming because there's nothing he said is going to change the system. The people involved in illegal immigration know that what he says makes no sense. To the average American, this may sound good, but he is misrepresenting the solutions that are being offered. They won't work. We're on track to have more illegal crossings this year than last year. After Title 42 repeal, you're going to double daily the number of illegal immigrants coming across this country. This is really a Baghdad Bob moment coming out of the Department of Homeland Security. I've never been more disappointed and disgusted than I am right now. I like this man, but what he's saying won't work. He's misleading the American people, and he should go. He should be fired.
He also said, Senator, we prepared for this moment for 2 years.
Yeah.
Noting the pictures on your screen, this is what their preparation for this moment looks like. He forecasts their plan will deliver results. One might ask why they waited to enforce the laws until Title 42 was lifted. That was obviously absolutely not necessary. But he's also blaming Congress. He's blaming Republicans. You've heard this White House over and over again not take any ownership of what you're seeing on your screen. He said that this is because of a broken, outdated system that is in place. Congress hasn't changed it, and Congress is not providing the resources they need to fix this problem at the border. What is your reaction to that, Senator?
I will gladly provide him more resources only if you change policy. How was Trump able to reduce illegal crossings to the lowest level in 40 years without Congress acting? How is it that since Trump left office, these new policy changes have been implemented by Biden, we have a 5-time increase in illegal immigration? The policies of Trump worked. They were repealed by Biden. What you heard today was political BS. They're not changing the policies in any way to deter anybody from coming. I promise you this. Nobody headed to America is going to turn around because what Secretary Mayorkas said. Nobody is going to turn around because they know what he said is all BS. The traffickers, the cartels, heard today business as usual.
Who's in charge of crossings across the southern border? Is it the Department of Homeland Security,
Yes.
Senator, or is it the cartels in Mexico?
Well, the cartels run illegal immigration on the Mexican side of the border. The American people pay for the last mile. So the illegal immigrant pays the cartel money to get to our border. Once you get to our border, you're processed and you're let loose in the country. You go somewhere and nobody ever sees you again.
But I guess my question really goes to the idea of who's in control here.
Well, they're in control of illegal immigration up to our border. When you get to our border, the Biden administration is in control in theory, and they're failing. What would I say today? That nobody on our side of the border is in control. That if you think our border is not open, you should not be allowed to drive. How can the Secretary of Homeland Security stand in front of the American people, given the image we're seeing today, and saying that the system is working? It's not working. And what the corrective action, if you get nothing else out of this interview, what he's saying about changing policy won't work. It's going to get worse, not better.
Well, he just talked about all the resources they've been sending to the border, and the American people should see that this right now is the result of that. Somebody's keying into me, if you can lift that. I'll finish by asking you this, Senator. What is this costing the average hardworking American family that this administration says they're out to help the most, as you see these tens of thousands of migrants flowing over the board, 10,000 in a day the other day? What is this costing the average American family?
Billions of dollars. Okay, the highest level of fentanyl coming out of our country has happened in the last 2 years. It's costing Americans their lives in terms of the invasion of fentanyl. In terms of illegal immigration, the amount of money it takes to process these people is enormous. We're sending 1,500 soldiers not to deter illegal immigration, to get them through the system so more can come. We'd be better off not sending soldiers because the soldiers are making it easier to release people into the country. They're not deterring illegal immigration. So what is it costing America? Your sovereignty. We're losing our sovereignty.
Senator, we know that you got to skedaddle for votes in the Senate. We thank you for being with us as long as you could. We'll let you jog back over there. We'll go back to the White House.
Thank you, Senator.
Again.